Welcome back, guys. My name is Brandon, and today we've got an interesting video. Stick around. Check out this contraption. So this is basically the undercarriage to a snowmobile. So this is like the inner workings of a snowmobile. I think the customer said it was a Skidoo, and the issue, they've got a lot of broken pieces. You can see this is completely snapped off. I don't know what causes this, but yeah, it is wrecked. This piece, how does this go? That's kind of like that one. It's got a bushing in the end of it and a grease fitting. Okay, so that is going to kind of fit up like that. So anytime we do a repair, guys, I like doing repair work because sometimes it can be challenging. Stick around, enjoy, and we'll get prepping this up and get moving on this. First thing I gotta do is probably get these straps out of here and get them out of the way. He said he's got some new ones coming, so we'll just unbolt it here and just fold them out of the way. By getting these straps out of the way, obviously we got a lot of welds to do. You can see it's broken all across here, so this is gonna take some work to make sure everything lines up right. Wow, this thing took a beating. Look, I mean, there's a lot of weld that broke off on this. I don't know what would cause that, boy, but I'll tell you what, it would take a lot of force to snap that apart. And the issue that we're going to have here, that this kind of like, whenever anything breaks, it kind of like keys itself together. So I don't want to grind away too much metal, but we got to V this all out. If we don't V out this metal, it's not going to work as well. So we're going to have to clean this up, V it out a little bit, and make sure that everything lines up perfectly. Now let's start getting these joints prepped. We got to get them all cleaned up, get the rust off it, and then we can V them out. I'm going to actually take that off so I can work myself all the way around the joint there. That bolt's not really wanting to come out of that bushing. There we go. There, now I can clean up these parts nicely. With it clamped in my vise, now I can get all the way around it. Now I'm just going to go over it with a flap disc gently and just bevel out those corners just so it V's it out a little bit to give the weld a place to go so it can add a little more strength. We don't want the weld just sitting on top. We want it going all the way to the other side so it fills it in nice. With everything all ground out, now we just kind of like test fit everything, make sure everything looks good, and then we got to start getting some tacks on this stuff and start putting it back together. So I'll take a quick measurement of my material thickness so we can set up our machine. So it's thicker than 14 gauge, but smaller than 1/8. An 1/8 inch is 125 thousandths. 14 gauge is about 74 thousandths. So we'll set it for about 90 thousandths on the machine for material thickness. And for this repair, I'm going to be using my Fronius Transsteel 2200. Let's get this thing set up. That's the thickness. So 110 thousandths. Let's go 90 thousandths. We're running steel wire, 30 thousandths diameter. We're using C25 gas. Now we'll open up our tank. It'll slowly go all the way open with argon in C25. Now we'll purge it out and read the gauge. And it looks like we're running right about 18 or so. Right, 18 CFH. That'll be plenty. And now we gotta get this piece fit in there. So I got a piece of rod, and I'll slide it through both of these pieces right here to help keep these parallel to one another. Well, there's no wobble in it, so it seems like that's where it needs to go. Let's take a couple measurements. You can see how I got this shaft slid through this way to keep them in alignment. Now we'll just kind of check it, the width, to make sure it's, you know, not too far back. Perfect. So that's good, you know, this way, running parallel. The one thing I'm not absolutely perfect of is the width from outside to outside, but that's going to kind of determine itself, because by moving this back further in, that would make this measurement shorter. By moving it out, it would make it longer. So as long as this measurement is parallel between here, this pretty much has to be where it needs to go. So, and everything looks really good this way. When I sight it down this way, it looks nice and even and straight across there. So, you know, it's not canted down a little bit. So I think we're good. Put a couple more tacks on it and we'll weld it out. I don't know what happened here. We're going to have to fill up quite a gap there with weld. We are done on this side, and you can see I've made multiple passes everywhere. This tube is like really thin, so now I've figured out why it failed. But you can see I've built it up, done halfway around, kind of like just kept building up over here as well. And now I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. As you probably saw, guys, I didn't bother sleeve this over here, just because it wasn't necessary. I was able to get some good weld on it. And if it's going to fail, it's going to fail whether it's sleeved or not. Now we'll get this back together and I'll bring you in real close and show it to you. Came out really good. I don't think we're going to have any issues. And here it is, guys. I made multiple passes around this multiple times, building it up, making the weld wider so it spreads the force out everywhere. You can see up underneath. Same thing over here. Multiple passes, probably maybe 4 or 5, and I wrapped the corners and I welded it on both sides, and it wasn't welded on both sides from the factory. Same thing over here, wrapped it all around this piece. I don't know what this is, but I wrapped it all around this, and yeah, he won't have any issues with this whatsoever. This is actually stronger than it was from the factory. He said he was going to put new straps on it as well, but I wanted to put these back on it just so it keeps everything together for him. This should be all in alignment. As you saw, I had the dowel down through this. Now, if this was, you know, too wide or too short and narrow, that dowel wouldn't have been parallel with this. So that's how I know that the width of this is where it needs to be, because that dowel went through both of these bushings right here and it remained parallel with this. And then this is the side over here. Made multiple passes on this all the way around, went back into the existing. So yeah, he won't have any issues. And then you can see it's almost like a bumper right here. You can see how, you know, when you lift this up, well, you can see how I welded it on my fixture table. And if you guys want to know how I made this fixture table and all my clamps, I'll have a link down below and up above to my playlist. And I call that playlist my ultimate tools. So this is one of them that I built. I built this table and laid it all out. I have a template to show you how to do it. I built this and a lot of the tools that you see in my shop. But back to what we were saying, you see this bumper right here? It hits right here. It also hits on this side. So I know that this didn't get welded together, you know, with a skew or a warp in it. It's nice and parallel. This bar here is parallel with that bar there, and this bar here is parallel with that bar there. And that's important when you're doing stuff like this, because I don't have this measurement. I don't have this outside to outside measurement or inside to inside measurement to whatever this hooks to, this here and this here, probably part of the snowmobile. I don't have that, and I don't have that measurement. So in order to get that, you have to fixture everything up nice and square, and that'll just kind of land where it lands. So you should be all set. Now, if you guys are wondering what I charge for something like this, I got a couple hours into it, and normally I charge $80 an hour. That'd be 160 bucks. I'm going to give him a break because he's a repeat customer. He's given me other work. He's going to continue to give me work, so I'll probably just do this for him for 100 bucks. Like I said, I got a couple hours in it. Everybody makes out in this. He'll get his snowmobile fixed. And the reason I guess he had me do this is you can't buy this. This is a discontinued piece from Skidoo. I think he said it was an MXZ 700, but I'm not sure. But as I was saying, everybody makes out. He'll get his snowmobile fixed, and I'll make a couple bucks. And I get to make a video for you guys and show you just some of the things that you can do with your, you know, your hobby or your profession of welding. So then if we just want to get a little more accurate and verify things, we can bump our tape measure right up into that aluminum piece over there. Then measure down to the inside of that bushing, and it looks to be about 1 3/8 inches. Then we can come over here, check it off this side. And it looks to be the same thing over there as well, 1 3/8 inches. So this should bolt right up with no issues right to his snowmobile. So just a nice, quick, fun video. Until next week, guys, I will see you then. Take care, stay safe, and God bless. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. New videos every Friday. See you next week, guys. Bye.